Hello YouTube, HPZ here today, and it's my Sunday routine or my Sunday video. So what are we going to be talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about cable theft and what to do when there's no power, because that's really something that always interests me. Then the next thing we're going to be talking about is probably what's to come, and as you notice, some of the videos that I'm going to be doing is for a little company. I'm just going to be talking a bit about that, and then also I'm going to be talking about pickups for this week. And this week actually has been a little bit better than other weeks, mainly due to the fact that I got paid and I can use some of that money again for consoles and things. So without further ado, let's talk about our first subject, which is cable theft. I'm sure overseas everyone knows cable power cuts and that sort of stuff, and in South Africa we get that too. It's sometimes a bit worse, sometimes it's not as bad, and unfortunately for the last, I'll say 3 months or so, Centurion has been hit very bad or very hard on cable theft. Now normally what they would do with cable theft is they'll go to some field and you get all of the copper cables from the electricity, and they'll normally go sit on a pickup or a bakkie, and they'll have this long saw that they maneuvered over a branch, and they'll literally cut the cables off so they can get to the copper. And I'm sure this also happens overseas as far as I know. Now what's been happening in South Africa, or in Centurion more precisely, is all of the substations have been targeted this time around. They're not doing just the normal cables, which is fairly easy to repair. They're actually going to the substations and they're like stealing the cables and everything out of there, and while it's running, it's very dangerous, but they do take that risk, and they literally go into the substations and steal all the cables from the relays, all of the cables going in. And this is a huge nightmare when they try and fix the problem. Instead of an area being down maybe for 5 or 6 hours, it's down for days, and that leads me to how this affected me. Friday I come back from work. We're working off site at the moment, so there's no internet connectivity, and 3G is the only internet connectivity you've got, and you use your cell phone a lot because of that. And by the time I get home, always that cell phone, it's more or less flat. I've normally got like 10% battery left, and it's run down. But nonetheless, I get to the house and power's off. Okay, not that bad, so I'll do my normal thing. And those of you that's watched some of my other videos have probably mentioned this. What I do when there's no power is all of my handhelds. I've got several Game Boy Advance SP, several Nintendo DS's, several other Game Boys, and I've even got one of those homebrew consoles, Dingo A320, which I modded. And when there's no power, that's my saving grace, because I'm a sort of person that if I don't keep busy, I'll go mad, I'll go mental, and it really irks me. So I always like grab my Game Boys and switch them on, and I do some gaming and stuff from there. So I did that for like 4 or 5 hours until it was about 11 o'clock, went to sleep and woke up, still no power. By that time I realised, okay, cable theft happened again. Most likely this time it's a substation, because it's been down for 24 hours almost, or 12 hours. My freezer has already defrosted, because during that day, sometime during the day, there's no power, so it's been leaking out, and my meat is gone. I need to throw that away now. What else can you do? So I jumped in my car and I did some thrifting like I always do on a Saturday. Came back home that evening, and still no power. Now the problem is, I actually owe a few repairs for a few people, and I'm sure some of you emailed me. I did see Kirsty emailed me, and Big G emailed me, but I haven't responded yet because I haven't been able to. I thought, okay, great, I'll respond Friday evening when there's some time, and I'll sit down and write a proper response, but there's no power. So that's just my little story, and well, I think I've got an idea which I'm going to be working on as a little project. Is quite literally just a little box that you plug into the wall. Most likely Arduino powered with an old cell phone inside that has a TX and RX connection or serial TTL connection on there, and I'll just have it as soon as the power trips, it sends an SMS to your cell phone, and when the power comes back on, it sends another SMS. And I think this is going to be quite a good idea, because I'm not the only one that has power problems, and power affects everyone here. It's a big deal, and at least then you know when the power comes back on at the house. The power is back on this morning by the house, at least when I woke up. That's why I'm making the video. I haven't even had time to shave yet, or to check that if the geyser's hot or not yet. It probably is by now. But that's been my weekend. Basically the only thing I could do is thrifting. I had so many repairs and so many projects that I needed to do. I couldn't do nothing because of the power. So if you have any power related stories, just comment at the bottom there, and I'll be sure to read them, maybe even respond to them in a video. But my tip for anyone who goes through this is, these things are saving graces. Keep them charged. I keep mine charged, and the nice thing about the Nintendo especially, standby, if you've got it switched off, the battery doesn't drain out at all. I know with the cell phones and with the Dingo and that, if I've got it switched off, after about a month or so the battery is flat anyway. With these, no. Nintendo was clever enough, it isolates completely from the battery if you turn it off, and it basically, you can switch it on like a month in advance and a month afterwards, and you've still got power. Several months afterwards, you've still got power, so it's a big saving grace. So what did I pick up on Sunday or Saturday? Well, I went to Viera Park, which is, in that little area there's 2 pawn shops and there's 1 charity shop. That's a charity shop where I got some of the games from last week. It's a bit of a drive, but it's well worth going in there. And the first thing that I picked up by the first charity shop, which is the first pawn shop, which is on top there, I don't normally go in there because it's a bit further away from the others, and I haven't been lucky as yet, but I saw this brown box, knowing what PC video games look like, and knowing that unfortunately most of the people do throw the stuff away, I opened it up and it's the first SWAT. It's a pretty awesome game, and they're hard to come by. I haven't seen any boxed in the wild ever. The cases, for some reason, I don't know if it came out like that, but it's got like white covering the cases. I don't think it came out like that because there's some handwritten, someone actually wrote SWAT, disc 4, disc 3, and there's disc 2 and disc 1. So it's a pretty awesome game if you like that sort of games. Third person, you basically play a SWAT, you have to control a little team and go into a building and stuff. It's a pretty nice game. The first one for me was slightly better than the rest of them. It was more technical than arcade, so that's pretty cool. After that I walked down to the charity shop and I got 2 items there as well. The first one, if you haven't watched this movie, you really should. It's Dr. Strangelove and How I Learned to Love the Bomb. It's a great movie. If you like old science fiction, if you've watched The Clockwork Orange, it's the same director. It's all black and white, but the movie is phenomenal. It basically covers what happens if a nuke goes missing and a team goes, how can I say, rogue to what does the rest of the world do in that situation, knowing that there's going to be a nuclear attack on a country that's going to cause a nuclear attack on everyone else. And it's just an entire movie on a no-win situation. It's very, 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 very good. If you have time, go find it. I bought this one for 20 Rand. That is, if you convert it, that's $2. SWAT I bought for 70 Rand, that's $7. It's a bit more than normal, but the lady says because so many discs, any excuse to increase the price. The other thing that I did pick up, which I'm going to be using in that new project, is an old Nokia data cable. Now, for those of you that don't know, these are actually very useful. It is a serial, it's a USB to serial adapter to TTL. And you can use this for all sorts of projects. Actually, use TTL and things to debug. So what you do is you cut the cord off, and there's normally 3 colors, or 4 if sometimes if you're lucky, but it's normally 3 colors. So you get a black, which is always your ground, and it's normally a white and blue, okay, which is your TX and your RX, and sometimes it's a red for 5 volts. So these cables are very useful today. I paid £5 for this, considering that if you go and you buy a new one, you're going to pay £150 for it. So I don't think that's too bad. Then I went to the last charity shop. Now this is the one that I told you guys last time that there was that Xbox One at, and I had a look at it again, and I told the guy bring it down. I usually asked the guy at the Xbox One that what does it come with, and he said it comes with nothing. So I just went there and I just said, okay, can you bring it down so that I can have a look? And at the bottom of it was a PlayStation bag, and I told him, just bring that down with it. So we opened it up, and inside was not only the Xbox One, but there was 2 controllers. The controllers are getting hard to come by now for Xbox One. The originals, the generics like these, yeah, you can get tons of them, but they're just really junk. The way it feels, the way it plays, they're not good. These, you have to give it some TLCs and stuff to get them 100%, but the original controls for the Xbox One is probably my favorite controller of all time. It beats out the PlayStation controller. I really do love it. Then there was the actual Xbox. It's priced at $350. If you look at the back of it, it's a 2013. It's never been opened or chipped. I'm going to make a video on chipping this one. And it works 100%. I can put games in, play anything else. I tested the controllers. The original controller that came with it needs some love. It's not working at the moment. Generally, if you've watched my other videos, there's a one about cleaning a PlayStation controller. You follow the same procedure on your Xbox controller, and they just jump back to life suddenly, and you can use them again. Sometimes it's a bad cable or things, but generally speaking, they're very easy to repair and easy to fix. And I looked at the guy and I said, look, it's in very rough condition. I'm not going to give you $350 for it. It's just not worth it. So he said, okay, well, how much do you offer? And I said, no, I don't make offers. You tell me how much you want for it, what you'll be happy with, and then I'll do a counter offer. He said, okay, $300, and I said, $250. I said, fine, I see you're very bad at negotiation. I said, yeah, if the thing is in bad condition, I'm not going to pay you the full amount you wanted. And they said, yeah, fine, it's taken. I said, okay, fine, and what I'll do is just help you out as well, because you did meet me on my price point. So I'll take 2 of the games you've got there for it, because there was only 2 Xbox games. And he wanted $25 each for them, and I said, I'll take them at full price, because that's a very fair price. So I picked up Time Splitters 2, which I'll get back to in a second, and Morrowind. I do actually have a much better condition Morrowind in my own collection. If you like role-playing games, play this. This is what brought the Elder Scrolls back from the grave. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It fixed the entire genre. Excellent game. Now, Time Splitters 2, when I got home and I opened it up, as you can see, it's not Time Splitters, it's Midtown Madness. And it's a not for sale version, it's the one that normally comes bundled with the consoles. It's not a bad game, right? I enjoy the Midtown Madness. I would have liked Time Splitters 2 a bit more, but okay, so I actually think I've got Time Splitters 2 on PlayStation 2, so not the end of the world. But when I tapped out on the console, I found MotoGP inside. This is the first release of MotoGP. It's not one of the re-releases with the date afterwards, which is for a bike game. It's one of the better bike games available. Nonetheless, so all of that I got for $300. That's about $50. Not bad at all. I'm really happy with that, and that's my monthly haul that I picked up, and I'm again in financial problems. Can't buy any more this month. I'll keep an eye open for cheap games and that sort of thing, $29 to $30 games, but anything big, I'm past that. Now that brings me to another subject. You probably noticed that I'm starting to do repairs for a game company. So far, most of the repairs I've done for free, and there's been some interesting comments on this. Um, Here's the thing. I used to do that as for a living. It was 6 days a week, from 9 to 6. I used to fix electronics and game consoles and things like that. And it always irritated me for the little tiniest thing, opening a console and taking out a cartridge, or opening up a Wii and taking out the debris that someone has stuck inside. We used to charge people anywhere from 250 to 500 rand to fix that, from $25 to $50 to fix that. I just don't feel right in doing that. Or on a PlayStation, doing something little like just opening a cover and closing again because the lid switch got stuck. I don't feel right doing that. I like fixing the consoles, and what's nice now with this other companies, it's going to be more retro things. Even though so far I haven't showed the retro, now that the power's back on, I can upload the video for the PlayStation side. I like fixing things and knowing that it's going to work and it keeps it out of landfill. It's going to a good home. That's why I do what I do. The idea that the consoles that we struggle today to buy is because people eventually, most likely, it stopped functioning and someone threw it away. They took it, they threw it in the trash. And there's nothing on this earth that upsets me as much as that. As the fact that now today we struggle so much to get retro consoles because no one preserved them. It was seen as a disposable item. It's either been thrown away or given to the maid, or we would have probably thrown it away themselves afterwards. So I don't mind not charging people to fix a console if it's something minor. If I do fix something that requires parts, if it's a major part, then it's 10% extra whatever I charge for it, what I paid for it, sorry, which I think is a reasonable amount. And normally my labour charges per hour. If I just work an hour, I don't even charge labour. I charge after 2 hours. Well, anything after an hour, I start charging. Even then, sometimes I just won't charge it because I'll know that this machine might take 4 hours to fix and it's not going to be worth the labour charge, but I still want to get it working. So I'll invest the time and I'll fix it. That's just honestly the way I am and the way I see doing it, that I'm doing the right thing the same in the process. It's all about keeping the machines alive, keeping them in circulation, and I know that by helping this person out, because they're a speciality shop, people are going to buy the consoles that's going to enjoy them. They're not going to go to kids who is going to play them for 3 or 4 years and then it's going to get thrown away. While there's nothing wrong with that, because I know that kids out there today, you're going to be the next generation of retro game collectors. You're going to collect what I'm playing today. Now, that's a bit of a responsibility on my side as well, to keep those machines alive. The current generation and the previous generation, keep them alive, keep them in circulation. Don't throw them away. Don't give them to the maid. Don't just keep them alive. And that's my goal in life. That's what I like doing in my spare and free time. If I had the financial resources, I want to shop here. Come on, I want to do just retro game consoles in South Africa. But to earn, for me to live, I need at least 12,000 Rand a month. That's $1,200. It's not much. But to make that sort of living from a shop, only doing speciality things in this area, and paying rent and paying staff and buying stock, it's very difficult. So that's a long future dream. That's along the top there with my whole thing of I want to start a museum one day, but it's something that I'm working towards. So what's coming? Kirsty sent me another box. I didn't receive it yet. It was supposed to be here on Friday. I wasn't here, the maid was here. I'm going to ask her on Monday what happened. I just hope that because of the no power, she didn't go home and they couldn't come and drop the machine off with the boxes off with the stuff. But there's lots of interesting things. There's a Sega Saturn, for instance, and I'm still busy. I've got that already. It just needs a new laser, and I replaced one cap with it. There is some video footage, but I'd rather have it completed and then upload it. There's an Atari that she gave me. I was going to do that the entire day. I don't have time today. so I'm going to have to look at that during the evening tomorrow night and the night after. In the new box there's an Xbox, another one of these, my favourite machines to work on. I really love working on these. Previous company I worked for, Gray, imported these like nothing on earth, and generally speaking, if it's opened and it's modded, chances are I did it, it came through my fingers at some time or another, because we literally used to order like 100 every 3 or 4 months. So I love working on these. The nostalgia on Xboxes, it's my favourite thing in the world. What else? I've considered doing top 10 videos. I've got the list prepared. I was going to start working on that this weekend without the power. Okay, so and that's all from me basically. So this is just an update video. We had a bit of a chat about cable theft in South Africa, what I do to keep busy, and some pickups and what I've got planned. So that's all from me, HPZ. Until next time, enjoy it. Goodbye.